Holy cow, guys. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. NXT Takeover New Orleans just concluded.
NXT Takeover New Orleans
Oh no.
just concluded. NXT Takeover New Orleans.
Where's that coming from?
Concluded.
Holy cow, a little bit of technical difficulties here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me try that again. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. I apologize for the little technical difficulty. That was the Aaron Rift remix. Anyways, what I was trying to say was, holy cow, that NXT show. Maybe, actually, I'm going to say it, the best NXT show WWE has ever produced, and that is saying a lot. I think it was the best one. I'm not sure how it could have been done any better. Everybody on that show got over, even the people that lost. Everybody looked strong. That is how you put a show together where everybody looks good, everybody's a star, everybody has their moment. This show delivered. You had a crazy-ass ladder match with tons of big spots. You had a heel turn. You had a main event that told a phenomenal story, good versus evil. Just the final payoff to this lengthy storyline over the past year. What a show. It was as close to perfect as you could ask for. I loved it. Tremendous show. There is some other news. Alberto El Patron has been fired by Impact Wrestling, but I will talk about that after the review. Let's focus on NXT first. Aftermatch Wrestling says A+ show. Israel says, I still think Gargano versus Almas was better. I would actually say this was better because this was the conclusion of a lengthy story and they hit all the correct notes. It told a tremendous story, and it gave you the payoff that you were hoping for. A very satisfying conclusion to the storyline. And for me, that's what puts it over the top ahead of the NXT Takeover match in January. So let's go ahead and break down the show. I'm going to have to figure out what the technical problem was at the beginning, because if I'm going to do Skype calls, I will need to turn the sound back on the computer. I thought I closed the YouTube video, but I'll have to look at that in a few minutes here. Oh, wait, I did not. Wow, I'm a dumbass. So, Aaron Rift fail, for those of you keeping track at home. Let's go ahead and break down this show. I have my notes. By the way, you can catch the full results over at NoDQ.com if you missed the show for some reason. And if you did miss it, you're crazy, unless you were in New Orleans and you were watching the ROH show. I will try to get Virtue on if he's able to call in. I'm not sure how far the ROH show has progressed. I think there's still a few matches left. It might go pretty late. But if Virtue's available, I'll have him call in. If not, make sure you guys follow NoDQ_Virtue to get his thoughts on the ROH show. Got a $2 super chat donation by Master Gordon. Aleister Black was awesome. He was awesome. Everybody was awesome on this show. So let's go ahead and talk about the first match. What a way to kick off the pay-per-view. We had the six-way match, EC3 versus Killian Dane versus Lars Sullivan versus Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet to crown the first ever NXT North American champion. Ricochet did this huge springboard shooting star press to the outside right at the get-go and almost killed himself in the process. Ricochet had a lot of crazy-ass moments, like I said, in this match. Everybody shined. Lars Sullivan was throwing ladders at people and just being a complete beast. Same thing with Killian Dane. You had tons of action. I mean, this was just non-stop action. Maybe the most intense ladder match and the most big spots in a ladder match for a WWE match, maybe since the Attitude Era. It's been a really long time. I mean, over the last several years, WWE has toned it down with the ladder matches. And in this match, these guys were just doing all sorts of crazy stunts. It was a total stunt show. And it was just a spectacle. It was really amazing to watch. Stephen Osborne just left a $2 super chat donation. The double broken ladder spots were amazeballs, and he put that in all caps. By the way, if you guys missed it, check out Stephen's WrestleMania preview video. I posted it on the channel, and I think he did a tremendous job. Stephen is a great contributor to the NoDQ channel. It was a pleasure having him on for the NoDQ panel several months ago. So check out that video. Give him a chance. He has some really interesting thoughts on the pay-per-view. Go watch that video. Relaxing Ghost says, I give it a B solid. Wasn't impressed for being their Mania. Well, can't impress everybody, but I was blown away by this show. I thought that it hit all the right notes, like I said earlier. Back to the ladder match. Briefly, we had Adam Cole and EC3 forming an alliance. Velveteen Dream did a lot of big spots in this match too. He had Ricochet on a ladder and did a rolling Death Valley driver or something. Just a crazy looking move. So Velveteen Dream had his moment. All these guys, like I said, had their moments, and it was just, like I said, non-stop action. What a way to kick off the show. And I wasn't sure if anything was going to be able to top it, even the main event. But we'll get to that in a few minutes here. Adam Cole ended up winning the match. He is the first North American champion, so congratulations to him. I think he was my second pick. I believe I picked Velveteen Dream as my first pick, and Adam Cole was my backup pick. But not complaining. Adam Cole, very worthy first person. I believe he is facing Tozawa tomorrow at Access. I believe Tozawa won the Access tournament and is the first challenger for the title. So no rest for Adam Cole. He'll be defending the title at Access prior to WrestleMania against Tozawa. Next up, we had the NXT Women's Championship, Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. I know some people aren't that high on Baszler, but I figured the fact that she lost at the Royal Rumble, she would win this time. She would win the title. Ronda Rousey was also there in the front row. Made it a little obvious, but still, I thought the match was really well done. Baszler was selling her shoulder, and she ended up knocking herself into the ring post to pop it back into place. That was very creative. I liked that. Ember Moon hit an eclipse to Baszler on the outside. They both barely beat the 10 count. They had a tough act to follow, you know. They had to follow the ladder match, and I thought they did a really solid job. Got a $5 super chat donation from the Boston Punk. If this show doesn't win every NoDQ year-end award, I declare shenanigans. It very well could when it's all said and done, but the year is still young. We still got WrestleMania. Let's see how things play out. But it's going to be... this was a tough match when I had to follow the ladder match, and WrestleMania is got a tough pay-per-view to follow. It's a tough act to follow for WWE. They've really outdone themselves with this show. But anyways, what I really liked about the finish here was there wasn't a tap out. Ember Moon was in Baszler's submission, and she kept trying to break out of it, but eventually she just passed out. I like it. I like the fact that she passed out rather than tapping out as a way to lose the title. And then after the match, Baszler hugged Rousey and the other 4 horsewomen that were at ringside. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Well done here. Next up, we had the NXT Tag Team title match, the 3-way or 6-way, to put it correctly. Either way, it's a 3-way tag team match. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly against Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne and the Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain were dominating the early part of the match. Adam Cole came out with his ribs taped up from the ladder match. He was powerbombed by the Authors of Pain through the announce table and was pretty much out the entire match. You had Pete Dunne getting a hot tag and getting a lot of offense in on people, but then the big shocker, the big swerve, Roderick Strong turned against Pete Dunne and helped the Undisputed Era retain the tag team titles, and I guess they're the winners of the Dusty Classic. So Roderick Strong is officially part of the group, which makes sense since Bobby Fish is injured and they needed somebody to fill in his spot. So I enjoyed this. Definitely keeps Undisputed Era's momentum going, and it was nice to have a heel turn on this show. Even though the crowd popped for it, it's supposed to be a heel turn, yet the crowd is all excited and happy for it. But at least we got some good heel reactions later on the show, and I'll get to that in a few minutes here. Dylan Folk said Bob Fish and Bob Roode would make a nice team. And of course, as Kevin brings up, they all have history together in Ring of Honor. So the ROH supergroup continues. And Brother Nero asks, are the Authors of Pain being called up? I think so. I would be shocked. You know, they seem to be the most likely candidates to be called up on Monday or Tuesday. Maybe they'll feud with Harper and Rowan. If Harper and Rowan win the tag team titles at WrestleMania, their next challengers could be the Authors of Pain. We could have a feud between those two teams, the battle of these scary monsters. Darian X says Strong needs the heel turn, but it makes you wonder why he turned them down a few months ago. Well, we'll have to see what the reasoning is for that. Who knows if he would have turned? You know, Bobby Fish getting injured probably caused some plans to be changed, but they could just say that finally the pressure got to him and he finally caved in and joined them. So we'll see what kind of reasoning they have for that. Let's move on here. The NXT Championship match, which was Andrade Cien Almas against Aleister Black. The story here was Zelina Vega was interfering in the match repeatedly, trying to help Almas win. This was a very good match. Not the strongest match on the show, of course. Not even the second or not even the third best match on the show, but it was still very good. It was still very solid. Almas has lost the title. Aleister Black is the new NXT champion. What does this mean for Almas? He's another guy that I could see being called up to the main roster soon. He's been in NXT for a while. They could potentially do a rematch, maybe one more match with these two. But I sense it's going to happen very soon. If not this week on television, certainly by SummerSlam, we're going to see Almas on the main roster. Definitely in the near future. It's just a matter of how soon. But I could see them maybe doing a rematch with these two first before Almas goes to the main roster. Or he could just go straight there. Not sure how it's going to play out. But yeah, good match. Enjoyed it. Aleister Black, he's got plenty of guys to feud with now. I could definitely see him feuding with EC3. And, you know, he's definitely got the momentum right now. He's got the look. He's got all the tools to be a big star in WWE. Oh, I did want to add that they had some rock bands. They did an intro with a live band for the beginning of the show, and also for Ember Moon's entrance, the singer from Hailstorm did her entrance theme. That was a cool moment. And then we had the main event. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa pulled a Dolph Ziggler and came out with no music. And this was great, actually. I thought that this was very effective. He came out, the crowd was just booing him like crazy. They chanted a-hole at him and F you, Ciampa. I'm not going to say what he said exactly because good old YouTube has an issue with profanity. But the crowd in New Orleans did not get the memo that it is a PG show. They're like, we're going to do what we want. And that they did. I loved everything about this match. Like I said, this was perfect storytelling. This was a true grudge match. This was a revenge match for Johnny Gargano after being turned against back in, I believe, May for the NXT Chicago show. And this match was almost a year in the making. They had a stare down to start it off. They brawled in the crowd. Ciampa grabbed crutches from a fan, obviously a plant, and tried to use them on Gargano, but Gargano was able to avoid the shots. Ciampa had exposed the floor area, but it backfired on him, and he ended up getting powerbombed on the concrete. That was great. Ciampa did a suplex off the announce table. That looked brutal. This match was just intense as hell. I loved it, and it was very well paced. I think the match went over 30 minutes. I'm not sure exactly. I know the ladder match went over 30 minutes, and it didn't feel like 30 minutes at all. And neither did this match. Both of these matches, for me, just flew by. I mean, that's how good these guys are. It just flew by so quickly. Macaroni Tony says the main event was slow paced, and Johnny should have come out and started swinging. I think that would have been a huge pop with the crowd. Kayfabe Candy S says the crowd was great and invested in the story. David says it was a 10-star match. Okay, Timmy Turner says it was a 37-minute match. Okay, here we go. Jeff Meacham with the stats. The ladder match was 31.5 minutes. The main event was over 37 minutes. Kayfabe Candy asks, I like the sarcastic "you deserve it" chant at Ciampa when he got powerbombed onto the concrete. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Dylan says 37 minutes? Really? Wow. Jake Williams says, what was your favorite match of the night? Well, let me get to that here. Sam, I'll answer your question here in a second. There's just so much to talk about in this match. So many things happened. The turnbuckle had gotten exposed. There were some great near falls in this match. Ciampa had used the crutch and then powerbombed Gargano onto his knees. I'm not sure what the move is called, but that was a great near fall. And then he did it a second time off the top rope, and people thought that was definitely the end of the match. And again, Gargano kicked out. Some people said there were too many kickouts, but keep in mind, this is NXT's main event of WrestleMania weekend. So if you're going to do the kickouts, this is the show to do the kickouts. When you do it on some random episode of Raw, then it loses its meaning. You save it for the big shows. So if you're going to do it, this is the time. Jonathan Smith just left a $1.99 super chat donation. Did Ciampa lose his teeth? Amazing match. It sure looked like it, didn't it? I think I posted a GIF or GIF, whatever they're called, the animated image of the super kick. It sure looked like it from what I could tell. Could have just been spit, though. I mean, guys have been doing that for years with the spit. Look at Shawn Michaels back in the day. Gargano had sent Ciampa into the exposed turnbuckle, hit the super kick, of course, which Ciampa kicked out of. And then Gargano started using the knee brace on Ciampa. Do you think the match was better than the CM Gargano match from the last TakeOver? I actually mentioned that at the beginning of the video. I do think it was better because this was the culmination of this storyline, and like I said, it hit all the right notes. That was just a chapter in the evolving storyline. The match itself with Almas was great, but I think that this was even better in terms of the overall storytelling and just giving people a satisfying conclusion to the storyline. And I love the finish here. So Gargano was going to use the crutch to finish off Ciampa, but Ciampa was showing remorse and looking really sad. Gargano sat down and hesitated. And at that point, Ciampa tried to attack him with the brace, but Gargano saw it coming, got the submission on, and he used the brace to help secure the victory over Tommaso Ciampa. Crowd went nuts, of course, for this. Candice LeRae came out. They celebrated. awesome feel-good moment, especially coming off of the January pay-per-view when he lost. You know, this was really needed. The happy ending, I loved it. Not sure what else to say about it. I mean, this was really a phenomenal show, to use a phrase from AJ Styles. I really enjoyed everything about this show. And match of the night, main event. As great as the ladder match was, both matches were unbelievable. Both matches, I feel, not only lived up to expectations, but exceeded them. So must-see show. If you missed it, you definitely have to check it out. I mean, WWE just keeps outdoing themselves with these NXT Takeover shows. And I lost the feed in the chat room. I'm not sure what happened here or how to get it back. I'd like to do a replay. Apparently the chat is still going and the video is still going, hopefully. Let's talk about Alberto El Patron, and I'll get back to your guys' questions in a minute here. I lost the feed for the chat room. Alberto El Patron has been fired by WWE, or excuse me, Impact Wrestling. Hopefully he's not rehired by WWE. El Patron had no-showed the WrestleCon event, Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling last night. And the weird thing about it was that he was part of a press conference angle with Austin Aries to set up their pay-per-view match, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And why the hell is Interstate Kyle going live against me right now? Him and Big Jeffrey are doing a live video on Facebook head-to-head with me. They have one viewer, but what a betrayal. I mean, this is almost as bad as Ciampa betraying Gargano. Kyle, Interstate Kyle has betrayed me. He's going live against me on Facebook Live. Wow, I'm going to have a talk with Mr. Kyle there, him and his one viewers. Anyways, this is a breaking story with El Patron. He has been fired despite being in the main event of Impact Wrestling's upcoming pay-per-view. As soon as we have updates, we'll have them up on NoDQ.com. Kurapika07 says Del Rio is always a troublemaker. Well, they didn't learn their lesson a year ago when he got cut. By the way, if somebody was sending in a Super Chat donation, okay, I see it now. Courtney Summers just left a $2 Super Chat donation. I was at TakeOver. It was incredible. And the Lowinator says, keep up the good work, Aaron. I enjoyed TakeOver. A+ show. Hold on one second, guys. A little bit of technical difficulties tonight, but it's bound to happen. It is NoDQ Live after all. I wonder if somebody out there is thinking about making an Aaron Rift blooper reel. You could definitely get some good content off of this one. Paul Jackson, 1988. I got the chat room working again. In my opinion, one of the best ladder matches ever. I agree. Like I said, I thought it was the most intense ladder match since the Attitude Era. I mean, they really went all out in that match, and everybody looked good. Like I said, everybody looked strong. Ricky Lawson says, thoughts on the Enzo charge being dropped. Okay, that has not been confirmed. That was one person on Twitter that made that comment. I have not been able to confirm that. And the woman who accused Enzo, she did delete her Twitter, but her other social media accounts are still active. So that is not confirmed yet. That is just one person claiming that the charges have been dropped. I have not gotten any confirmation about that. Is the ROH show still going on? I guess Virtue's at that show, and if it's still going on, he's not going to be able to call in. So how about we have good old JM Jeff Meacham call in and give his thoughts on the NXT pay-per-view. Jeff, if you're watching, which I know you are because you just commented about Virtue, go ahead and call in. Actually, he says he's doing his own show. So are you doing it right now, Jeff? Are you acting like Interstate Kyle and trying to go head-to-head with me? Million Fish says, was it too early to put the title on Baszler? No, I don't think so at all. She did not win in January, and Ember Moon is most likely heading to the main roster soon. They need a strong female superstar in NXT to carry the brand once Ember Moon gets called up. Baszler seems to be the best candidate right now. She has the credibility. She has the MMA background. Some people don't like her because they feel like she's only there and getting the push because she's friends with Ronda Rousey. But I feel she has some credibility, and she'll be a fine women's champion. Stinky Toffee says, best pay-per-view of the modern era. It's right up there with WrestleMania 30 and WrestleMania 31 in terms of the quality. Like I said, I think it was the best NXT Takeover pay-per-view. I mean, the ladder match and Ciampa and Gargano are going to stand out, I think, for a very long period of time. And considering the amount of build for Ciampa versus Gargano, almost a year. Actually, it might have been over a year. I mean, when was their Cruiserweight Classic match? That was 2016. So the seeds were really planted back then. Stephen Osborne just left a $2 super chat donation. If Jeff is busy, I'll call in. Stephen, do you have my Skype info? I'm not sure if you do or not. Only a few people have it. By the way, I'll give a cheap plug for Jeff Meacham. YouTube.com/JD Meacham. He's going to be going live as soon as I finish up. He'll be doing a special live edition of Talk Wrestling. We'll see if Jeff thought it was as good of a show as I did. Knowing Jeff and his love for NXT, I would be shocked if he didn't think it was the best NXT show. What did I say, Jeff? He says, Meacham, you idiot. Did I pronounce your name? I thought I said Meacham. J.D. Meacham. That's correct, right? Jason EXP says, is Gargano and Ciampa better than Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank? I would say technically, yes. Cena and Punk was not perfect, but it had an incredible storyline build-up. And, of course, the pipe bomb is an all-time historic moment. Gargano and Ciampa didn't necessarily have that, but they had some really interesting moments, and it's going to be tough for WrestleMania to follow. Walter Cruz just left a $2 super chat donation. NXT just told WrestleMania, now follow that. TJS says, guess I'll call in tomorrow. Anybody out there that has my Skype info and wants to call me right now with their thoughts, go for it. I am definitely eager to get some feedback and thoughts and have a little break from talking. It's been a long 30 minutes of talking here. Plus the 40 minutes yesterday. I'm already losing my voice. I have to preserve it for tomorrow. WrestleMania, of course, 7 hours. It's going to be nuts. Yeah, Ryan, Virtue did miss NXT. Virtue went to the ROH show. Not really sure why, but that's Virtue for you. I guess the feeling is that it's better to watch ROH live and watch NXT on demand. You'd have to ask him. He's Virtue. He's a genius. So I'm sure he has a very practical, well thought out reason for going to ROH instead. Stefan just sent a $2 super chat donation. Skype says you are not online. So Stefan, you must have my old Skype account info. I'm not even sure which email I used for this one. And if I say what the email is, everybody will start trying to call me at once. Do a search for my name. See if you can find my other account. And if you do, I'll add you as a request, and then you can call in. Sam says, what did you think of Pat McAfee? I thought he was crap. I liked him. I actually thought he did a really good job, and I hope he's on more shows. I think he did a really solid job. I love the back and forth with him and Adam Cole. William Losh just sent in a $1.99 super chat donation. Don't see Ember Moon staying over on the main roster. Well, I think she will be on the main roster. Jeff, are you there? Wait a minute. Say something.
Say something.
All right. Why? I thought you were not calling in.
Nobody else is calling in. You want to take a break from talking? I'm here to talk, brother.
All right. Thanks for giving me a break. I guess you can do a cheap plug now for your video.
What's funny is I got you live on Skype here, but I'm watching your feed on the YouTube on the TV, so you're a little bit behind. It's funny to watch me and you talk. It's funny. YouTube.com/JD not me come 15 freaking years, Aaron. JD Meacham is the YouTube page. I'll be recapping NXT Takeover New Orleans, the full show. I love what Aaron's doing. I pretty much agree with what you said as far as this is the best NXT show they've ever done. But I'll go more in depth when you're done with your spiel here, boss man.
All right, I think TJS is trying to call in, so
let him call in. Hell of it.
All right, so Jeff, you got your cheap plug in. Thank you for calling in.
See you guys in a few minutes. YouTube.com/JD Meacham.
All right, take it easy, man. And William Losh just sent in another super chat donation. Tyler, are you there?
One second.
Okay. William Losh just sent in a $1.99 super chat donation. Tell JM you're going to kick his leg out of his leg. Stefan, if you're watching, Tyler's calling in right now. I'll get you on in a few minutes, Stefan. Tyler, how's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy with tonight's show. I was very pleased with it. So, what were your thoughts on the show?
I thought it was a great show, but there's just two main issues that I had with it.
Yeah, I know you were tweeting me about that.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I didn't understand why Roderick Strong broke the pinfall between Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly. That didn't make much sense to me because it looked like right after Pete Dunne hit the bitter end that they were about to become the champions. Until Roderick broke the pinfall, I just didn't understand why that happened. What do you think?
Right. Well, I do remember him breaking up the Authors of Pain pinfall. If he did break up the pinfall when Pete Dunne was going to win, I guess he just wanted to sacrifice himself for the Undisputed Era. That's the only thing I could come up with.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense since they were together in ROH. And also, my second issue with this show is I thought that maybe Ciampa should have won his match because I think that, the fans, of course, would have been really upset with the ending, but I'm just not sure where Johnny Gargano goes from here in NXT since we have a babyface champion in Aleister Black. So I was thinking that if Ciampa could have beaten Gargano, then Ciampa could challenge Aleister Black for the NXT title. But now it looks like Ciampa has lost momentum since he didn't win the match, and Gargano might flounder since he's already challenged.
Right. Well, Ryan in the chat room says Gargano versus Cole could be the next feud. Maybe Ciampa will be the one that gets called up instead, and Ciampa will debut on the main roster.
Maybe so. I mean, overall, though, it was a fantastic show, and I think that WrestleMania has its work cut out for it.
Absolutely. And if you guys missed it, make sure you guys check out TJS's predictions video along with Interstate Kyle. By the way, did you see what he did on Facebook? Kyle is going head-to-head with me on Facebook Live right now.
He wanted me to be on with it, man, and I told him that I was feeling under the weather.
See, you're smart. You know better.
I'm loyal.
That little bastard Interstate Kyle, and he trying to go head-to-head with me, that son of a... I'm not going to say it because of YouTube. Oh, I just wanted to say I really liked Mauro Ranallo's commentary as usual, and I love him channeling JR calling Ciampa an SOB. That was great. I think
SOB.
Yeah, I think Ranallo really added to the show as well, and it's just a shame that he's not doing the main roster shows. He should be doing everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And on an unrelated note, what do you think of the WrestleMania stage?
I like it. I think it looks cool. I don't think it was as elaborate as last year, but that was going to be hard to top. Last year was really unique and memorable. This year is still good, though. I really like it, and it's different from WrestleMania 30, which is cool. So yeah, I think it's a good set design. and I like the pyro. I was very happy to see the pyro back, at least for WrestleMania. So yeah, I think it's very good. I still think, I have to say though, the fan-made stage design that was posted a few weeks ago with Bourbon Street. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not even sure how you pronounce it. Bourbon Street. I don't even know. I've never been to New Orleans. I have no desire to go there. People are like, why don't you go to WrestleMania? I'm like, I don't care about New Orleans. I have no desire to go there. It's a party city and not really a great place if you don't drink and you don't party.
Yeah.
It's not my scene really.
Chicago will be fun at least.
Yeah, Jeff's making fun of me for mispronouncing it. So I mispronounced Jeff's name apparently. Yeah, I don't know the name of the whiskey, Jeff. I don't drink.
Yeah, straight edge, man. Me too. Don't worry. But also, I like the Breaking Bad hoodie.
Oh, thank you.
Or beanie, I mean. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me call it in.
Yeah, thank you very much for calling in, and maybe we can have you call in tomorrow night after WrestleMania.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, man.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, I already stutter enough as it is. I don't need alcohol to stutter even more. Stephen Osborne, try calling me now. Let's get your thoughts on NXT before I wrap this video up. I haven't even been checking the view count, live viewers. We have 230 right now. Okay, Stephen's calling in now, so let's see if we can get Stephen on the line here. Stephen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, thanks for calling in. What were your thoughts on NXT Takeover?
Well, I only watch NXT Takeover. Like, I don't watch NXT. I just don't have the time.
Ooh. So, what are your thoughts? What would you like to talk about?
Well, this pay-per-view is the reason that I do watch NXT Takeover, because they never disappoint.
Right.
I mean, I haven't watched a bad NXT Takeover yet. There's been a few bad matches here and there, but not much. Not much. This one was, like I said, it was an A+ show.
Yeah.
This is going to be hard to top. But if you'll remember the last few NXTs that have been really awesome, and we've all said, oh, they're not going to top this tomorrow, somehow they managed to top it.
Yeah.
And it just becomes one awesome weekend. There's a few things I wanted to talk about, though.
Sure.
Just because the Roderick Strong thing, it did not make sense because he fought that whole match like he was on the side of his team. And then at the end, turns it around, and now he's decided to turn heel, which makes sense if they actually the story in the ring. They really didn't have any spots in the ring where it was like, oh yeah, maybe he'll take that the wrong way, and he'll just be like, screw it, I'm gonna turn heel and go with guys that, I guess I want to be with now.
Right.
So that was kind of a little bit of a plot hole, but at the same time, I'm sure they can explain it away later. I made the decision at the end of the match. I was done with, the thrown together tag team. Like I said, I don't watch it, so I didn't get to see any of the build-up, but they do an amazing job with NXT. If you're going to watch you, they're going to make sure you know what's going on. They're going to make sure that you're well informed of the storyline leading up to tonight. And they did it very well. I actually watched some of the pre-show. I didn't think there'd be a pre-show, but I turned on the network and suddenly there it was. But yeah, they do a really good job of getting you invested in a match that you haven't been watching NXT for the last 3 months.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think just to add to that, I can see where that criticism comes from. It reminds me of when Bret Hart had teased that he was going to turn against NWO Hollywood, and then he had a match with Hulk Hogan. I mean, that was worse, though, because they were having a match, and then they ended up being friends at the end. They were just wrestling for the sake of swerving Sting. I don't think that this was as bad, but I can kind of see the same concept there, and why would Strong even work that match to begin with when he was going to turn on Pete Dunne all along? So I do understand that logic behind it. But to me, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I'm sure there'll be a good reasoning for it. And like I said earlier, it could be a case where because Bobby Fish got hurt, they had to come up with something last minute, and it wasn't something they had a lot of time to really invest in with the storyline and have it make sense, and they just had to to do the best they could with it. That's how I see it, at least.
There was one spot in the match where I think somebody was going for a move, and I think one of the authors of Pain threw what was Strong's partner's name? Pete Dunne.
Yeah,
I think
Pete
they
Dunne.
threw Strong into Pete Dunne. Now, if you had flipped that around and Strong thought Pete Dunne had messed up in the match and hit him, that would kind of explain away his decision. But the other way around, it would make sense if Pete Dunne turned on Roderick Strong, like, hey, how could you run into me and knock me? I don't know. I think it knocked him down or knocked him out of the ring.
Yeah,
That
gotcha.
could have explained it in match, but they had it the wrong way, and so it did no good.
Gotcha. So what else did you want to talk about regarding TakeOver?
Well, I thought the NXT title match was a lot better than you gave it credit for.
The NXT title match? All right.
Yeah, because, well, for me, what it had, just in watching, the maybe 40, 45 minutes they gave for it, and then all the preview videos, it had a great story going in between the two characters. It had a great build-up between them, and they told a good story in the ring. Like, especially, like, Selena Vega interfering, a whole handful of times, and it working every time until the last one, it cost them the match instead of helping.
Yeah.
So one of the times that she tried to interfere, did it actually pay off with the 3 count? And then the title's on the line. Like, it was the whole match. I didn't see any botches. I didn't see any non-fluidity in that match. Like, it was a great match. Very sound.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot better than we gave it credit for.
Well, I mean, it was the third or fourth best match on the show when you had 2 matches that were among the best NXT matches of all time. So I still thought it was really good. I don't think there was a bad match on the show. I think all the matches were really solid from start to finish.
I would say it was second. I'd say the Ciampa and Gargano, then the title match, then the 6-man ladder match.
Interesting. I mean, I love that ladder match. I was thoroughly entertained by that.
It was great. Like, I would call them all like 5-star matches. I mean, in my limited judgment, I'd call them all 5-star matches. But if I had to call them in order, that's the order I'd put them in.
All right. Well, Stefan, I know you just did your little video for the WrestleMania pay-per-view. So if you guys have not checked it out, like I said, go check out Stefan's video. Great stuff. And hopefully we can have you on more panels in the future. You and TJS are great contributors. And I'm hoping to see you. Actually, you paid for your ticket, so I will be seeing you in June for Money in the Bank. That's going to be a very fun show, very fun weekend, as a matter of fact.
It's been an awesome weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for calling in, Stefan, and hope to talk to you very soon.
Can I throw a question out there before I hang up?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts about Shane McMahon having to turn heel tomorrow because he's not going to be able to actually wrestle in the match?
That's interesting.
I think not actually cleared. I don't think he's going to be allowed to get in the match. They can tell the story where he just, waits to get tagged in and then makes the decision when they go for the hot tag.
Well, I could see that if Shane could not compete at WrestleMania, then that would make a lot of sense. And really, I think that's the only thing they could do. I'm not really sure what else you could do if Shane was not able to wrestle. I guess you could have him be laid out backstage or something. Maybe he could be laid out backstage and then it's a handicap match and then Shane comes out, acts like he's going to help Bryan and then attacks him instead. So you could do something like that. But I feel Shane's going to wrestle. I feel whatever is going on with him, he's just going to pull through it and do the match. And I don't think there's going to be a heel turn. But
I was under the understanding that diverticulitis was a much more serious thing, disease, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, it was pretty serious for Brock Lesnar. I'm not really sure if it varies depending on the person. I really don't know that much about it, but I do know that it was a big deal for Brock Lesnar. It's also possible that the WWE's exaggerating whatever's going on with Shane, like they usually do, and that way it comes off even more impressive when Shane comes back. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him, but whatever we're wondering about this, we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow what's going on with Shane.
That's tomorrow's going to be an awesome night. I hope you have a good night, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night tomorrow, 7 hours. You still there?
Well, have a good night. Yeah, I'm here. I was just waiting for you to like graciously let me off the phone so you could finish the video.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate it. You have a good night, man.
Have a good night, Aaron.
All right. Thank you. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right. So on that note, I will go ahead and wrap up this video. The kickoff starts, by the way, at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 2 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be a very long show, like I said. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate the viewership. Thank you guys for tuning in last night for NoDQ Live, which already has over 10,000 views. I appreciate that. And that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ Live. Thank you, WWE, for putting on a great NXT show. And we'll see how WrestleMania goes. We'll see if WrestleMania can live up to the hype. Check out Jeff Meacham on his channel at youtube.com/JD Meacham. He's doing his live video. Go watch him. Get his thoughts on the pay-per-view. Follow at Planet Kayfabe, Kayfabe Candy Ass. And on that note, I will see you guys tomorrow night.